crowd, it's like he's just wrestling with his baby brother. No problem. He's got so much. Look at him. See? Looks around. No problem. You know, I can deal with that. He's really an amazing guy, full of self-confidence.
And look how low his hands are. Toney nearly caught him that time with the left hook.
But you saw what happened. Jones had his hands down, but they're so quick. He leaned back and caught Toney with a little left hook. He's just so quick. You don't fight like this unless it works for you. And this has worked for Jones so long. It'll work for him tonight as well.
He is so quick. Toney is right now finding out that he may not have the quickest hands in the sport, but we know he has the street toughness. And you look up under the right eye of Toney, who appears not to have his game plan working for him right now, and he seems a bit confused. Or
what's your game plan against Roy Jones? I mean, it's a hard game plan to have. The game plan is to put a lot of pressure on, but that's really never been James Toney's forte. He's a counter-puncher. He may have to switch up during the fight and really put in the pressure.
Here's Miller, the trainer for Toney.
But when you're going in jab, double up on the jab. I wouldn't drop you. I know.
Here we go. Here's that little whoop-de-doo fake out. They're both faking. Look, and there goes Jones. And see, he kind of caught him and pushed him too. They bumped the bodies together. I don't think he was hurt as much. He was off balance, and then watch, see, and then the push there. And look at Toney, how strong he is, though. He doesn't go down because he knows that if he does go down, any part touches, it's a knockdown.
Jones actually played him into this, though. He suckered him into that by doing it himself. And Toney fell prey for it.
But it was definitely a push. It was a punch, but then the ultimate result was a push.
Round 4, and like a cat in an alley, Toney comes out with some fury here to start the round. On the ropes, Jones, but he's been able to slide off without being damaged that much so far. Toney looking more serious now, Joe, as he leans inside and eludes a left hook.
Toney's got to work as when he finally does get close to Roy Jones, he can't let Richard Steele come in and break it by obliging Jones and getting tied up with him. He's got to get his hands free and work to make the referee think that he doesn't have to step in and break him and then separate and give more room.
Good
that
left hook.
It wasn't a strong left hook, but it was one that's aggravating and kind of demoralizing.
Jones is working that left hand. That's been his pet punch so far here through 3+.
But just when you think you should watch out for the hook, Jones will come with that straight right hand, and it's fast and hard.
3.5 years, Toney's been a champion. And they're talking to one another now. Good body work from Jones. He's not really known for his work downstairs, but mixing it up quite nicely so far, the challenger.
Well, right now it's a runaway for Roy Jones Jr., unfortunately, for James Toney. This is where he's got to do his work. You see how he just put his arm around Roy Jones there? He can't. He's got to keep his hands in front of him and work. The closer Roy Jones gets to Toney is when he's got to start punching.
Big shot from Toney, his best punch of the fight. And Jones nods his head as if to say, nah, didn't feel much of it. Toney has perhaps the bigger one punch, but he's not really a one-punch knockout artist. He goes to the body a lot, but he hasn't had a chance to really do that so far here in this one, Joe.
Well, this Roy Jones Jr. is really amazing. He gets a good right hand by Toney off those 2 misses by Jones. But see how he slides off to the side of Toney, too. Toney will dip that left shoulder, and he takes advantage of that by going around Toney and landing beautiful little angle shots on him. Really frustrating for James Toney right now.
2 minutes gone by here in the 4th. Toney starting to assert himself again here.
As Roy Jones just landed 4 wicked shots, 2 to the body and 2 to the head.
This has been all good so far. Both fighters showing us their stuff, and Jones so far the better. Using the jab and the hooks and the right leads occasionally. And Toney starting to put some body work together.
And this is what James Toney has to do. He has to get down. He has to get in through that offense of Roy Jones somehow by moving his head, blocking punches, and then taking that opportunity to touch Jones's body immediately and not to wait.
Here's Jones. And champion off balance, being caught by the left and right hands. Closing moments here in round number 4. Jones rallying late here.
Punching it out, punching it out. Right, step back, step back, step back.
You know, Toney a bit more effective in that round, Joe. He went to the body successfully. He landed a couple of rights to the head, but still, all in all, Jones did what he wanted to do by sticking and moving.
Woo! Having fun, baby. Getting a little closer to him now. Reaching him was wrong. Hit him with them right hand, come back to left foot. But jab your way in. Doing what you're doing. Way to work. Way to work. He's slowing down some now. You'll be able to hit him more now. He's slowing down a little bit. Okay? Deep breath. You stop pulling, man. Stop pulling. 4 or 5. It's 5. This 5, round 5. All right.
Through 3 rounds, Jones landing 41% of his punches. He threw 153. He has thrown, rather. 85 for Toney for 31%. And, of course, a knockdown scored by Jones back in round number 3, a left hook. This is not what Jones wants to do in the center of the ring with James Toney.
Well, Jones just missed a real quick flurry of punches, and Toney is so adept at slipping and rolling with punches. And here's where he's got to come out of that with his own punches. After he takes those 2 and 3 touches from Roy Jones, he's got to come back and shoot his own punches right back at Jones to even the score up, or you just keep falling behind.
Nice defensive ploy there by Jones. And what I notice is Jones will use his left hand and, almost like Larry Holmes used to, wave it across himself, and then he'll throw a hook off of it. It's been effective.
Very difficult to hit. You saw what Roy Jones did. He stood in there a few seconds ago, threw a left hand to the body, and then slid over completely around James Toney. It's amazing stuff, and this is what's giving Toney so much problems right now, is the angles and the fleet of and the foot speed of Roy Jones Jr. Not to mention the hand speed.
Just over a minute gone by here in round number 5. This one's scheduled for 12 rounds. James Toney's championship on the line here, the IBF version of the 168-pound title. And Roy Jones vacated his middleweight championship for this opportunity. And both fighters gave away a guaranteed $2 million plus to take some gate receipts. And there's Toney getting hit with some lefts and some rights. Playing a decoy game, but Jones landing the boom. And they trade inside, and the power of Toney being noticed there. Again, Toney landing. And Jones coming back with some offering. And they trade in the middle of the squared circle here at the MGM. A minute left here in the 5th. Toney coming up with some big shots here in this round, but he has to come through some shots of Jones also.
This is what Toney's got to do. He's got to make Jones work in hopes of tiring him out a little bit. It's only the 5th round. We got 7 more rounds to go. Tiring him out and taking it to him in the later rounds. Because right now, ooh, good left hook by Roy Jones Jr. Right now, Jones is just fresh as a daisy, and he's got all sorts of energy.
Very sneaky left hand for Jones. Toney has him right where he should do some work to him right here.
Toney can't always wait for that right hand.
Oh, whistling turnaround left hook
for
Toney. He nearly got it, though.
But you saw how Jones got out of the corner, was standing behind him like he walked through him. So this kid is just unbelievable. You cannot let him rest. You've got to tire out Roy Jones Jr., and that means constant pressure. You can't give him these breathers here.
We'll see what attrition has to do with this one, because we're about to close out round 5. This is a very close round, Joe. Who do you like so far in this one?
Well, Toney landed his occasional counter punches here, but I still like Jones for landing and ring generalship of the punches he's landed. Early on, he did more work, and I just think it's been pretty much a sweep for Roy Jones so far. But Toney is getting closer and doing better.
Doing good. Way to work.
Al Murkison, the trainer of Roy Jones Jr.
Try to hit that hook up off your jab now. You'll get it in better. You'll get it in better. Okay? There you go. You're doing good. This 6th round, baby. Coming in the 6th. Coming. Okay. Here. Coming in the 6th. Get him some water. Get him some water.
Here's some of the action in that intense 5th round.
Here's where you got Toney pressing the action. Here's that counter right hand that got deflected by Roy Jones, and then he landed that left hook off it. So Jones right, Toney right, but missed, and then a counter left hook. And here goes Jones to work now. He's on one side of you, then he's on the next, and he's peppering you the whole time.
So far, Roy Jones Jr. has been the man as the challenger. And Toney is a guy that can go to the well late. 20 of its bouts, we're referring to the champion Toney, have gone past 6 rounds. He has 6 KOs in the 6th, 3 KOs for Jones after the 6th. So the deeper it gets into the fight, you would believe that Toney would pick up the momentum. So far, it's been Roy Jones Jr. looking to make his mark here, not only in the middleweight division as a super middle, but in the world of boxing. Has it been what you expected so far?
Yes, exactly. Exactly what I expected, and that was that Roy Jones would use his superior athletic ability on top of his God-given boxing talent. Look at that. I mean, that's just an athlete, pure and simple, and Toney's having a hard time dealing with it, even though he's probably the more accomplished fighter. But you just got a great set of wheels on Roy Jones Jr. here with all the other, gadgets he's got going for him, and it's just too difficult of a night for James Toney so far. He's got to do something to turn the tide here. And that's do that. Get rough, go to the body, use your arms, your forearms. Do anything you can to slow down Roy Jones and expose something that he will be vulnerable to.
Toney looking to make something happen. He hasn't been able to so far. Jones is really slick, though. He has proven to be all of what many people that know him believed he is. And, it's amazing when you have a talent that's somewhat undiscovered in Jones, even though we know who he is. A lot of the boxing people out there that are watching the fight right now, they're not that familiar with Roy Jones Jr.
I think the general public, you're right, has not very much knowledge of Roy Jones. But the boxing community, of course, does. And that's why everyone anticipated this fight so much with a beautiful left hook by Roy Jones. Anticipated this fight so much because they knew the talent. And, of course, everyone knows James Toney.
Roy Jones holding that left hand in his holster. A quick draw with it, too. Toney missing the overhand.
See, even though Roy Jones's hands are down on the ropes, you still can't hit him. He turns his shoulder, he leans back a little bit. He's got great radar, he's got great eyes, and then his feet get him out of the way. He turns this way or that way, steps left or right, and he's just not there for James Toney. A little